The roots of the Russia-Ukraine conflict run deep, entangled with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. For centuries, Ukraine was a part of the Russian Empire, later becoming a Soviet republic. However, within Ukraine, a strong sense of national identity persisted. This identity fueled aspirations for self-determination. With the fall of the Soviet Union, Ukraine declared its independence. This declaration did not erase the complexities of the historical relationship between Russia and Ukraine. Many Russians saw the separation as an artificial division. This tension was exacerbated by Ukraine's geopolitical importance. Sharing borders with both Russia and several NATO members, Ukraine became a focal point in the East-West dynamic. Its strategic location, coupled with its fertile land and resources, made it a prize coveted by both sides. The years following independence were marked by a delicate balancing act. Ukraine attempted to forge its own path, navigating between its historical ties with Russia and its aspirations for closer ties with the West. This balancing act proved increasingly difficult, setting the stage for the conflict that would erupt in the years to come. I'm sure you've heard the news. In 2014, the simmering tensions between Russia and Ukraine erupted in the Crimean Peninsula. This region, home to a majority Russian population and a strategically vital Russian naval base, became the stage for the first act of open conflict. Exploiting political instability within Ukraine, Russia deployed troops to Crimea under the guise of protecting the Russian-speaking population. This swift and calculated move caught the international community off guard. A hastily organized referendum, widely condemned as illegitimate, was held, with the outcome predictably favoring annexation to Russia. The annexation of Crimea sent shockwaves across the globe. Western nations denounced the move as a violation of international law and imposed sanctions on Russia. The annexation also marked a turning point in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, transforming it from a political dispute into an armed conflict. Within Ukraine, the annexation of Crimea ignited a wave of patriotism and a determination to resist further Russian aggression. The conflict also led to the emergence of pro-Russian separatist movements in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk, further fueling the flames of war. On February 24, 2022, Russian forces launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This was a multi-pronged assault targeting major cities, including Kyiv. Putin's goals were dismissed as baseless pretexts for an unprovoked war. The invasion triggered the most significant conflict in Europe since World War II. Cities were transformed into battlegrounds, with civilian areas bearing the brunt. The images of destruction and suffering shocked the world. The invasion was met with fierce resistance from the Ukrainian people. Armed with Western-supplied weapons, Ukrainian forces mounted a spirited defense. The conflict evolved into a grinding war of attrition. I'm sure you've heard the news. Section 4. The global stage alliances and condemnation. The international response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine was swift and unprecedented. The United States, the European Union, and their allies imposed crippling sanctions on Russia, targeting its financial system, energy sector, and key individuals within Putin's inner circle. These sanctions aim to cripple the Russian economy and pressure Putin to change course. The invasion also led to a strengthening of NATO, with countries bordering Russia, such as Finland and Sweden, abandoning their long-standing neutrality to seek protection within the alliance. The conflict served as a stark reminder of the importance of collective defense and the need for a united front against aggression. However, the response to the invasion was not universally condemnatory. China, while officially neutral, provided tacit support to Russia, echoing Moscow's narrative and blaming the West for provoking the conflict. This divergence highlighted the emerging multipolar world order and the challenges in forging a unified global response to crises. You need to hear this if you're a humanitarian. Section 5. A humanitarian crisis, displacement and despair. The war in Ukraine triggered a humanitarian catastrophe on a scale not seen in Europe since World War II. Millions of Ukrainians were forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries such as Poland, Romania and Moldova. These countries, while grappling with their own challenges, responded with remarkable generosity, opening their borders and hearts to the influx of refugees. Inside Ukraine, the situation was dire. Cities lay in ruins, infrastructure crumbled under relentless bombardment, and essential supplies dwindled. The indiscriminate nature of the conflict resulted in countless civilian casualties, with hospitals, schools, and residential areas targeted in attacks. The war exacerbated existing global challenges, disrupting supply chains, fueling inflation, and exacerbating food insecurity. Ukraine, a major agricultural producer, saw its exports of grain and other essential commodities grind to a halt, threatening famine in vulnerable parts of the world. Diplomacy and the hope for peace. As the war in Ukraine grinds on, the path to peace remains elusive. Diplomatic efforts have yielded little progress. Both sides are entrenched in their positions. Ukraine refuses to cede any territory. The conflict has entered a dangerous new phase. The international community must continue its efforts for peace.